All right, all right. Welcome to another very exciting episode of The Real Deal. Let's get it. All right. Once again, welcome to another very exciting episode of The Real Deal. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Saturday. It is the last Saturday of July. August will be here in about 5 days. So it's crazy to say that because it seems like this summer is just a blur. Like we did June and then July and then August and then here we are. So football season will be here. Training camps open up this week. So very excited about that. So I hope who enjoys football, like you're getting ready, NFL, college, high school, whatever you like, football is here. So, but I said NFL training camps open up this week. So I hope everyone got to enjoy some coverage, watch as fans. So I'm excited. As a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I'm very excited. So looking forward to this upcoming season in general, fantasy football, NFL, college, all those things. So, but you could catch the podcast on all podcast and social media platforms. You know where to find it. At Get the Real Deal on Twitter. Follow me at Courtney110979 on Twitter. Also the BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com, BS3 TV, the Roku channel. You can find all the shows there. Shout out to the BS3 Network, the entire network, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, Spotify, Apple, everywhere you get podcasts, you can find the show. But I am not going to have my guests waiting too much longer. I'm very excited to have her on the show. We're going to get into a little bit of her background, how she got started in the industry, fantasy football. Like I said, we're excited about football here. And again, yeah, it's going to be a really good season. But I met her at we were doing an unwind show with Rachel Tootsie Pop. So she was on the show a couple weeks ago. So check that out, that podcast out as well. So we met there, and I like what she was talking about, what she was doing. So she is, what's a writer, and she does a fantasy football, fantasy footballers. That's what she's on right now. She said on a tweet, she said she was beyond ecstatic to share that she's landing her dream job writing for the fantasy footballers. So I am very excited to have on the show Brittney Foxworth. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And like I said, we got to shout out Tootsie Pop herself, Rachel. She did an unwind where she brings a lot of the women of the industry together, but then she did have another side one where she had everybody that's in the fantasy football community, or if you're just fans of football. So I'm glad that we met there. So thank you for coming on. Like I said, I really appreciate it. I sent you the invite. You was like, I'm a little nervous again. I don't do a lot of podcasts or anything like that, but I said, don't have to worry. It's a casual conversation. So I appreciate you took the invite.
Thank you for having me. And I'm seriously, this is probably my fourth podcast. So I'm a rookie.
Right. So all good. It's all good. So we got already some comments. Like I said, if you want to comment, you got Wendy Early on. Thank you for tuning in. She is, yes, definitely big in the community of fantasy football.
Yes, I love Wendy.
Things. Yeah, me too. So she's amazing. Yes, Tootsie Pop herself. Yay, Brittney. So yeah, appreciate it. So all right, well, let's talk about a little bit about your background, how you got into sports and things like that. So the floor is yours. How did you get into fantasy football and writing and all those things?
Sure. Well, I grew up a Steelers fan because of my dad. He has been a Steelers fan my whole life. Like, I have pictures of me from like 4 years old wearing Steelers jerseys. So just grew up loving watching the game with my dad and my mom. My mom like would throw down, have like all the food. Like Sundays at our house was an event. So that's really what got me excited about football.
Okay.
And then for fantasy, again, my dad, he was playing fantasy football, a big money league, and he won a lot of money when I was in high school. So this is like 20 years ago. And I was like, oh, okay, I love football. Yeah. I love money. Let's do it. And he got me set up in like a random Yahoo league, and I came in last. So that kind of like sparked a fire in me to get better. And I just, after that, started listening to the fantasy footballers. And that's why I say that's my dream job, because I've been listening to them for probably 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And that's who really got me into fantasy. So I started listening to them every week and learning more about the game and got better at it. Finally won my first league a couple years after, and now I'm obsessed.
Obsessed, right? Yes, and I can definitely know that, because I've been doing fantasy football for a long time. Yeah. I'm talking since, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
That's me. Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah. Right.
I'm in high school.
Yeah. So from high school and really getting into it, like the numbers and the stats, and always been a big sports fan too, just like yourself, and loved, football and all that, and really got into. So that's when fantasy football, as you said, we said to get the things out of the newspaper back then, like the stats and things like that, and cutting out clips and magazines and things like. And it's funny because there's still a lot of publications that are still doing fantasy football, and things like that, magazines. But now you got social media, so it's definitely have changed over 20 plus years and everything too. So you said your love for the Steelers and everything too, so that's where it comes from. So talk a little bit more about that, your love for the Steelers, and then we'll get more into the love of fantasy football.
What's not to love about the Pittsburgh Steelers? I mean, okay, well, but my dad was actually a Cowboys fan when he was younger. And then once the Cowboys started losing to the Steelers in the Super Bowls, he switched sides. But my love for the Steelers, oh my gosh, it's just a family thing. Yeah. My dad, we had like a Cordell Stewart doll growing up. And my dad would dress up the Cordell Stewart doll for every holiday. Like he had a Santa hat, like it was just an obsession. And we had a Steelers room, like a man cave. Right. So it was just like a something that my family could do all together, regardless of like, gender. Because like sometimes, I don't know, it was just something that we could all get together. And my dad was also a football coach. Okay. So it's just like football just runs in my family. And that's the only sport I watch. Okay. Like I don't watch basketball. I've tried. I just can't get into it. I don't watch baseball. I've been trying to watch the Olympics this morning, and I'm like, this is boring. Oh, okay. But football is just like the adrenaline, the contact. Just I don't know. It's just so much fun for me.
Hey, that's and football does bring that out of us too. It's as fans, we get so invested and we get so locked in on whatever team you like. You said you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and they've been, over the 40, 50 years, that history of that franchise in itself, of all the Super Bowls, all the greats that's come out of that franchise, the black and yellow, all that, just in general.
It's a culture.
It's a culture. The culture of the Pittsburgh Steelers is something to, that I've seen over the years too. I'm not a fan of the Steelers, but, just a fan of football in general. You see they're always in the mix. They're always there. It's a winning culture. It's always been a winning culture. Even in the down years, there's still a winning culture. So I could, I could definitely see that as well. So
we made the playoffs last year with Mason Rudolph,
right?
With Mason Rudolph as our quarterback. It's insane.
Yeah. So let's go until now. Going into this season, as you said, You had Mason Rudolph that made it, that you guys got into the playoffs. And you said, well, Mike Tomlin has coached for so many years. He just he believes leadership. Like he's just one of those
Yes.
guys that just he gets the best out of those guys, and they never under 500. He's never had an under 500 record. It's always been 500 or better. So that just goes to the winning culture again. Even in down years, they're 500 or better.
Yep.
So, but heading into this season, new quarterbacks that you have there. What's your expectations for this season? Looks like they're trying to get back into the old school Steelers tradition, running the football, run the football, and playing great defense. But as well. But you say have a new quarterback situation. What's your take? What you thinking of this season heading into the season?
Honestly, I love the new quarterback situation. Anything is better than Kenny Pickett. But for honestly, I think it's Russ is hurt right now. I don't know if you've seen in preseason. He's got a little calf thing. I'm not worried about it, but the fact that Justin Fields is already getting like first team reps and he's doing good things with them. Like he's had a couple of good touchdowns. He's been making tight throws to Freiermuth. So it's going to be a great. I can't wait to see the competition between Russ and Fields to see how long Russ can hold the job.
Yeah, because he's got Russell Wilson. He has I know he signed for 1 year, and because Denver's actually paying him all that money, I think 30+ million. So
they're paying for him to be our quarterback.
They'll be the quarterback, right?
So
the Steelers have him for at least the 1 year. So it's almost like a prove it year for Russell Wilson. But as you said, they end up picking Justin Fields as well. And Justin Fields, he's not coming in there just to be a backup.
Nope, that's what he said.
Yeah, he wants to start. And this is the guy coming, from off the Bears, which I felt like the Bears didn't give him his fair shot as a QB. So so I really feel like if Russ struggles, I know it's like I said, it's a prove it year. He didn't have a great 2 years in Denver, better year last year than he had the year before, but it's more of a prove it year. I think Russ is he's in a good situation. So he can thrive off this, but you got a young Justin Fields behind you now, and now the pressure's on. So maybe he'll get the best out of Russell Wilson, but with Justin Fields there, we'll see. And Winnie earlier, I'm just going through the comments. She said Mason Rudolph. She's just laughing, and she has a lot of stock and shares of Justin Fields. So yeah, I agree. And also the Bears did screw him. Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
I agree. I said. Imagine if Justin Fields would have had what Caleb Williams has now coming in.
The weapons. Oh my goodness.
Yes. I know. Like they waited so long. They got him DJ Moore, but come on, that's not gonna.
Right.
Plus
exactly.
the Bears organization as a whole is not the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
no,
I'm so excited to see what they can do with Fields and as a raw prospect. And Fields actually said that when he was first breaking into the league, Russell Wilson was who he modeled a lot of his play behind. So and most of the tape he watched, he really loved what Russell does. And so the fact that he gets to learn behind him, I think it's going to be really big.
Yeah, totally. And
but I'm not out on Russ. I promise. I know I keep talking about Fields. I love Russ is a winner. He knows how to win games and he knows how to throw touchdowns. So
yeah, I mean, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I mean, with Seattle, and I mean, there's always arguments of how was it Russ, was it the running game, was it the Legion of Boom, was it the defense? I mean, there's so many different things. But I mean, Russell Wilson was the QB for that. They could have 2 Super Bowls if it wasn't for the play call in the end, not running football with Marshawn Lynch. That's a whole nother thing. But but it goes to show Russell Wilson. Like I said, had bad years in Denver. Maybe another change of scenery should help him being in that culture with the Steelers. I feel like he will be the starter when it's all said and done, just because he's a veteran. I think they still want to give him a chance. But as you said, Justin Fields is right there, right behind him. So, like I said, if Russ struggles,
already getting the snaps, already getting the practice,
the first team reps. Yeah. So it just goes to show that. They're the Pittsburgh. They wanted to invest and
Yeah.
that quarterback, and I guess it shows that they feel like they're a quarterback away for really
For sure.
being a contender, but in a really strong division too. The AFC North possibly is
Brutal.
I would say the strongest division, with the Baltimore Ravens, with the Cincinnati Bengals coming back. They got what's name coming back, their QB coming back as well. Joe Burrow coming back. Yeah, Joe Burrow coming back, and now looking
Slim
like
Shady.
Slim Shady. I was gonna say looking like Slim Shady. You got Joe Burrow coming back, and you still got the Cleveland Browns who made the playoffs too. So it's just that's a brutal division.
Crazy. It is.
How do you feel?
Our schedule is really tough towards the end of the year too. We play 3 games within 10 days.
Wow.
Like that shouldn't even be allowed, I feel.
No,
but
at all.
And it's against like the Eagles and the Chiefs. It's not even like that's going to be brutal.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty brutal. Yeah, it's a brutal schedule, but I think the Steelers and that division is so hard to predict, and so it's really hard
anyone's game
because Baltimore had that great year. More than likely was the best regular season team last season until they got into the playoffs and met up with the Chiefs, of course. But Cincinnati, when Burrow got injured, they took a step. They took a huge step back. So if he's healthy, they'll be in the mix. As you said, Steelers now, if they get their quarterbacks right, they'll be in the mix. And then Cleveland, again, if Deshaun Watson, if he's even what he was a few years ago, they got a real good defense and they run the football too. So got a lot of talent. So I'm looking forward to see how this division.
Imagine if Chubb's healthy, like
Nick Chubb is healthy
towards the end of the season, like come back. Give them that juice they need. It's going to be scary.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting division to watch. So can't wait to see that. So I want to get back to you. Now you write as well for fantasy football. You said you got your dream job. As you said, how did you get into writing? And do you also do graphic designing too? Don't you?
I do. That was my first start. Actually, was graphics.
So let's talk about that. How did you get into graphic designing and writing? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I was in Discords, like just talking with people, and I would make team name graphics for people. Just people would request things, and I would just make memes and things and share them to the Discord. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, you are really good at this. You could be like selling this." And I'm like, no, this is just for fun. Like, whatever. Yeah. Well, my friend had a connection. He knew Nate from IDP Plus was hiring a graphic designer, and the main requisite was that you had to be super passionate about fantasy football. Anything else, they will teach you. So I was like, okay, I will take this opportunity and see where it goes. I was unemployed at the time because of the pandemic and just like working, homeschooling my daughter. So I had the time. So I talked to Nate and he got me set up doing first I was making memes for social media. Then I started making YouTube thumbnails. I've always been artistic. That's just one of my passions. So
right.
I never wanted to write. That wasn't even my dream. It was more I wanted to do the art side, but writing is where the money is apparently. Because you can get paid per article. I'm like, okay. They had an opening for someone to help write waivers for IDP, and I don't even play IDP. But I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I can learn IDP, and I spent, oh my gosh, a month just learning how to play IDP, just watching all these YouTubes, learning all the players, just trying to figure it all out. And then eventually I started writing the waiver wire column for them. And then that evolved into, I met Rachel and Unwind, and the girls were putting together a site and they needed someone to cover the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was like, I am passionate about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sign me up. And so I started writing and I was like, wow, this is fun too. And I grew a new love that I didn't even know I had. And just kept writing. And I was very active in the Fantasy Footballers Discord and made some really good friends with Papa Josh. He's one of the producers on the show, and just like I was active before even getting into content creation.
Mm.
And so they knew who I was. And I'd played in a couple of leagues with them. But when I applied, I reached out and was like, I don't have very much writing experience. I've only been writing for a year. But they knew me through like all my memes, my graphics, and just like my personality. And they were like, you're exactly the kind of fit that we would want. So please apply. And I did.
And then you got it.
And I got it.
And yeah, the rest is history. Wow.
Yep.
I mean, that's a journey, because you said it started from your love of, for one, football, fantasy football, graphic designs, and now writer for what you wanted to always do. And it goes hand in hand, because you need graphic designers, because you need the art of it, which is what it's about. And now you have the writing as well. So you're like, hey, I just put my passions together, and now this is where I'm at, and this is what I love to do. And in fantasy football, like I said, articles and player profiles and all these things it's big. Like we talked about, like you said earlier, we talked about it for like so many years of that's what we used to read it from magazines to newspapers to now social media, and now we're in the content creation space. I think that's a cool journey. That is a very, very cool journey. So congrats on all that too. And another thing I think was very important, what you said, it was the community of fantasy football that I think is tremendous, of who you meet and who you interact with just in fantasy sports in general, whether it's football, whether it's baseball, basketball, whatever you like. But fantasy football in itself has grown so much and tremendously, and how many people are in it, and so many leagues, so many websites, so many content creators, very talented ones too. So I think that's what it's about. Talk about that, the fantasy community of, as you said, we have a lot of people. I want to shout out another Kelsey Nicole Nelson. She said, great show. Thank you. She's been big into the content creation space. She's a podcaster, broadcaster, all those things. So thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Good friend of the show. But talk about the community of that, how it has grown, and per se, women in fantasy football, of how much that's grown. You talked about the unwind and bringing women together and talk about that. I try to highlight so many different women in all the different genres of sports and business and things like that. But talk about your perspective of how you've seen the growth of the community of women in fantasy football.
The growth of women in fantasy football has been crazy, I feel. Well, it's like I think we've always been here, but we weren't always together. Right. And it's like when Rachel brought us all together, Tootsie Pop, it like ignited something in all of us, I feel. It's like the Unwind girls and that chat and all the women in fantasy football, they are probably the most supportive people I have ever met. And I've never met them like personally. Like I haven't been to an expo yet. I'm going this year though, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Expo time. Yeah, but like I've never met any of these people, but they like rally behind everything I do. And because I rally behind them because I'm genuinely care about all of us succeeding. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's grown. I feel like it's grown, but I feel like women have always been here, and I love that like people are now shining a light on women in this space.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's amazing.
So kudos to you for sure.
I thank you for
bringing us on here and giving us a space.
That's just what I try to do. Just that platform, just to tell their story and everything too. So, Mr. Scampers, thank you for tuning in. Matt Record. I did Go Brittney Go. So thank you. Like I said, all the support. We always appreciate it. Yeah, I always appreciate that. And you're right. I think the community of fantasy football and just the industry is tremendous, because like I said, you meet so many people that you've never even might not even see in person. But that's the part of the beauty of social media, where you can reach out and see people and find people on there, and they have the common thing. We all have a common thing, and we just love this content creation of it, and just to chat and talk in a safe space. I really think that's a tremendous thing to do. And yeah, you said women of fantasy football. You said it's always been there. It's just more. It's like you said, it's heightened more. I'm glad because there's so many incredible, talented women that's doing big things, and you're a big part of that too. So I just want to give you guys the flowers and respect that you did wholeheartedly deserve and beyond. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so we talked about the Fantasy Football Expo. Would this be your first time going?
My first expo.
Okay. And that's in a couple of weeks. I'm not going this year. I went last year, but not going this year. But it was it's a great time. And you said you're just there with not just people that are fans of fantasy football who are in the space, but general, because it's at the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, which is like I felt like it was like a football campus. It felt like a college.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It felt like college campus when you're walking around and you get a chance to get to the Hall of Fame, see all the the Hall of Fame itself and the restaurants and the expo as well. Shout out to Bob Lung, who was the creator of the expo as well. So Brittney Foxworth said, so proud of you, Britt.
That's my mama.
that's mama there. So yes, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it that your mom's tuning in as well. But yeah. So what are you most excited about the expo?
Meeting everyone, I think, because like I talk to all of these people every day, and a lot of the people that I work with are going to be there that I'm going to be first meeting. Plus, all the Unwind girls, we're having like a dinner Friday night.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I think Rachel said up to like 14 girls going to be there, so that's going to be fun. Unwind takeover.
Yeah.
I get to meet all my IDP Plus team and my player profiler team, and I'm excited.
Yeah, there's so much. Just enjoy it. It's a lot. It's a lot when you get there, as you say. For my first time too, it was the first day, because there's parties. There's a lot of different things, but people come up to you and say, hey, what do you do? If they don't know who you are, they'll say, hey, what do you do? And then you start to, again, the community. You start to really enjoy just having conversations. You're talking about fantasy football. You're talking about life. You talk about, your family, things like that. It was so much fun. And then, the live drafts, you have those, you have the seminars, you have it's a lot.
I'm excited.
It's very exciting.
Wait.
You're going to have fun. I'll just say enjoy it. Enjoy the moment and enjoy the time there. That'd be the only advice I would give you, is just enjoy it. Just enjoy the moment. It's a lot of fun as well. So before I let you go, I want to get into a little bit of just some fantasy football this year. How many drafts are you in? How many leagues, I should say, are you in? I asked all my guests this. How many leagues are you in? Sure, it's a lot.
It's not that bad, I feel, because I'm in I think I'm in 5 dynasty leagues, so that's not. And then redraft probably 12.
Okay.
So it's not I'm not in the 50s or anything crazy.
Yeah,
and a couple of the 12, I think 2 or 3 of them are best ball. So I don't even have to set my lineup. I have to do waivers and stuff, but
right.
Yeah. So 15-ish to 20, something like
15
that.
to 20. Okay. I still realize a lot. I do.
You think that's a lot? Oh
yeah, but I've seen.
How many are you in?
Well, as of now, I'm only in. Well, I scaled back. I used to be in like that. I used to be in 15, 20, and it was so. For me, at least, it was harder to manage and everything. But I've seen people that have 50 to 100 leagues. So maybe 20 is not a lot now compared to some that, because when I had Rachel on 2 weeks ago, she was talking about, I think she said she was in 10 at the time, but she kept, people keep asking, hey, you want to do this league? You want to join this live draft? You want to join this? And she said, I can't say no and everything. And that's what I did last year. I had told myself, I'm not going to do more than 5. That's what I thought. That was last year. But then it kept coming, and it just there's 7, there's 10, there's this. I was like, okay, this year I'm really going to scale back. I'm really only going to do a couple. I always do my podcast league that I do. And and that's we've done it for the last 3 years. So this will be our 4th year doing this, fifth year. So that's a redraft. So I'll do that one. That's one of my main ones. I'll do a couple more. So, and I do a lot of DFS too. So DraftKings. So I'll usually concentrate on that so I can manage it. 15, 20, or 50. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to manage, but we'll see. We'll see. I say that now, and I talk to you in about a month, and they're like, "How many leagues are in?" I'm in 15.
I've said it. I'm not joining any more this year. I'm done. Okay. Like, we're at my limit. I can't go over this.
It's funny because we'll say that, but then you get to when you go to the expo and someone's like, "Hey, we got this open league. There's a spot. Do you want to do this?" And you're like, maybe.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, right. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it is. So, they said, Robot says,
Toe Clan. Yeah, I'm in a dynasty league called the Toe Clan. Don't even. It's not anything about feet. I promise.
no feet league. Like none of that. That's funny. But yeah, it's good to be in a lot of different leagues, and you're just it's so much fun. And then when money's involved too, that happens. Like, yeah, you really start taking it. But fantasy football at the end of the day is all about fun and community.
Yeah,
that's what it's about
for sure.
The end of the day. So, and everything too. So, Brittney, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. We got to do this again. We have to definitely do this again. Maybe before the season start. Maybe I'll have I'm thinking of doing a round table kind of thing. I usually do Women of Fantasy Football roundtable. I want to get Wendy early on. I want to definitely get her on the show just in general. So Wendy, if you're still watching, I'm gonna send you an invite soon. So then want to get her on. So want to do that. But I might do a roundtable of have just a general just talk about the industry and leagues and things like that. So I did it last year. So I'm thinking about it again this year.
I'll definitely come on.
All right. So you might be. I'm sure Rachel would do it and others. So if I send the invite. Yeah. So, and I know she's got an unwind coming up soon today. Actually,
unwind is today at 2:00.
Yeah. So you have another almost podcast.
I love unwind. It's so fun. You know.
Yeah. Yes. I love it too. But let everyone know where they can follow you, what you got coming up. You said you got the expo and everything too, but everyone know where they can follow you and find you on social media.
All right. You can follow me at bfoxworth07 on Twitter, and you can catch my articles on the Fantasy Footballers website.
There it is, Fantasy Footballers. Check it out. Check out all Brittney's work. bfoxworth07. You see it in the bio there. You see it on the screen there. Follow all her things. Like I said, on Unwind. All those things, and also graphic designing as well. Oh, you did the Scott Fishbowl too. Was that your first Scott Fishbowl?
My first,
draft too. Okay, how did that go? Before I let you go, what'd you think of your team and everything too? I just finished mine last week.
Yeah, I like my team, but I really. Who knows? Like, the scoring's crazy.
Oh my goodness! Every year he does something different and everything. Now he's got punt returners; they get points and
now returners. I'm like trying to mock and do other leagues, but I keep thinking Scott Fishbowl settings, and I can't get it out of my brain. I'm like, no, do not draft another running back. You do not need him.
It's running back centric, and sometimes tight end centric.
Yeah,
it's so crazy, but it's the biggest fantasy draft, and
it's been fun just talking to everybody in that league. Everyone's so active.
They're great. Very active. This is my third year, and I love it. I've done a live one. Yeah, that's my main goal, to do a live. Maybe
me next too. Year. Next year, I want to go to DC.
I'm gonna do the Philadelphia one. I want to do that, and I know they had a spot left, but it was too late and everything too. But the slow draft, it takes like a week, 2 weeks sometimes, but it's good. You get 7 hours to pick. I love that. So very slow draft, but I've enjoyed the Scott Fishbowl draft league. So looking forward to that. So that's another league we're in. Scott Fishbowl. Can't forget about that. So, well, Brittney, thank you again. I really appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to do this again. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. You enjoy the rest of the weekend, and like I said, you're by the pool, so I know you're ready for that. So, all right. Well, I'll talk to you soon, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye. And thanks for everyone that tuned in. I really appreciate it. Until next time, peace, and always God bless.